Welcome, friends. Let us together rebuild this world so that we may live, laugh, and lore.
I was going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
I can bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold.
Not listening. I'm not listening.
Oh, that took.
Program loaded and ready.
Make it so.
Welcome to the Live, Laugh, Lore podcast. We're your host. I'm Tony.
And I'm Mark.
And today we have a little bit of a new episode around the Live, Laugh, Lore podcast. So we've been kind of really focusing on some big franchises that kind of encompass sci-fi and fantasy. But this time around, we're actually going to focus on a new category, anime. So there is just a plethora of franchises within this, group. And within that group, there's these franchises with hundreds and thousands, crazy amounts of episodes. And what better way to kind of introduce our listeners to it if they haven't seen it, or if they have seen it, be able to talk so much about it, which is Naruto.
Yes. Naruto is something that Tony and I both grew up with.
Yeah, you started me on it, actually. I was over at your house, and you guys were...
On Disney XD.
Exactly, as your dad calls it, the Hokage show.
Yes, correct. And so it's something that we grew up with and we liked. So that was the first anime that I watched, and I've watched a few others now at this point.
Yeah, that's my first as well. I might have had a little bit of Dragon Ball Z into it, but it's one of those things like, I think my mom probably watched it once. She's like, what is going on? Why are all these people screaming? You know what I mean? And I don't think I watched a little bit, but not too much. But.
Yeah. It's actually kind of funny that we're recording today because on the way home from work, there was a car in front of me with 4 bumper stickers. One was from Full Metal Alchemist, the brothers.
Oh.
The second one, I believe, was from Bleach.
Okay, it's up there.
Yep. Then it was Kakashi-sensei from Naruto.
Nice.
And then Luffy from One Piece.
Oh, nice.
So it was kind of cool to see that driving home today. So Naruto is the focus of this episode.
Yep.
So we know this is the first time we're doing anime, and maybe not a lot of people know. So it's gonna be kind of an intro to Naruto and an intro to anime. We're just gonna kind of hit the high levels, try to sell you on it, and because this is one that we recommend, that we both like. Anime's been something you've been trying to get involved in or get started watching. This would be a good one, we think, to start.
Yep, absolutely. I really do think this is a good one. Also might help. There's a lot of lists online. People have like watch lists, so kind of interested in this one character or whatever. Really, you can deep dive as well. So
correct.
You don't have to sit around for the 700 plus episodes.
Yeah.
And also they're 20 minutes.
Yep, very easy. Yep.
Of which there's an intro, there's an outro. So in reality, it's like 12-minute episodes. You know what I mean? So
yeah. And Tony mentioned before, some of these can get pretty long. There are also some shows out there that are one season, one shot, right? Yeah. So you can ease into those as well. Much shorter series, right? So Naruto has 2 different. Well, actually now there's 3. So there's Naruto, the original series, only about 200 episodes. And Tony and I forgot about this, but we realized when we were researching that a lot of the back half is actually filler episodes.
I don't know if I believe it. But
you don't remember that growing up, but.
And sorry, we should talk. I totally forgot. Definition of filler episodes. So this is a kind of anime-centric term. Virtually, what ends up happening is there's multiple reasons why this might happen. One of which is the studio has so many funds, and they have so many animators, and they have a really big battle sequence coming up. So in order to make sure that the animators and the studio has enough money, time, and effort to fulfill this big fight scene, they might make a filler episode, quote-unquote filler episode, which basically means it's not really contributing to the main story.
Right. But
what it's doing is it's using some of the main characters, and they're using them in a very laxed way.
It's filling the time.
And when I say lax way, there's not a lot of fighting. There's some talking.
Right.
The scenes aren't that crazy. They're kind of in one area. Or you notice like some of the filler episodes, they're like in this dungeon. So it's just like a room. So there's not a lot going on in the background.
Yeah,
so
it doesn't take a lot
cost.
Low, exactly. Yeah.
And then the other big reason why you might have a filler episode, which I don't think Naruto suffered from this, but it might have. One Piece suffers from it for sure, is the fact that the manga, which is normally, that's like the comic, gets adapted into the show. And so they're waiting for the manga coming along.
So thank you, Tony. Yeah.
Yep.
So like I said, there's Naruto, the original series, which is going to be, the main character is Naruto Uzumaki. And this is going to be about kind of his childhood and kind of his coming of age story. Then you have Naruto Shippuden, which is more of his teenage years. I mean, he's He's more of an established ninja at this point. And then the third series that I think is ongoing still.
Still going, yeah.
It's called Boruto, which is about Naruto's son.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we'll hit much of Boruto today.
Nope.
But we'll discuss kind of the Naruto-centric ones. So let's just set the stage, Tony. Let's set the stage. This is kind of in a world where it's separated by lands, and there's like capital. We would call them cities, but they're villages. They're capital villages in these lands, right? So the main ones are the Land of Fire, which has the Hidden Leaf Village inside of it, which is where Naruto's from.
Yep. This is kind of like the big village that
Yes.
you're going to constantly go back to. This is home base.
Yes. Then the other, so there's like 9 different lands, but you get the Land of Fire with the Hidden Leaf Village, and then the other big one that we'll see a lot is the Land of Wind, which has the Hidden Sand Village in it.
And there's a lot more. We kind of want to expedite this. This is just kind of an
Correct.
intro process. Just know that, hey, there's these countries, they call them lands. There's these capitals, they call them villages. Take it as that. That's really what we're trying to go on. But we can list them all out if we want to, but I don't think that's productive. Yeah.
Correct, yep. By all means, though, if
And
you're,
also, we didn't list them in our notes, so-
correct. But by all means, if you're interested, I mean, you can look it up, look it online, or I would just recommend watching the show because they'll just tell you all about it. So, like I said earlier, the profession, they're all ninjas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shinobi, or what's Sakura called?
Like the healer?
No, the female ninjas have a different name because it's a different word in Japanese.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so here's another thing about anime while Mark thinks about that and he fills the time. Another thing about anime is there's 2 different worlds of anime. So there's those who will watch dubbed versions, meaning the mouths are moving to the English words and it's English. There's subbed, which is the mouth is moving to Japanese and they're saying in Japanese, but the subtitles are English. So that's dub versus sub. So when Mark asked me, hey, what is the female version of a shinobi? Well, that might be a Japanese term, but for, English, it's just shinobi. Everyone's a shinobi.
Or ninja. Everyone.
Or
in
ninja.
English,
Yeah.
So I remembered it's a kunoichi. And like I said, it's just because Japanese has different words for male and female. It's a shinobi if it's a male ninja, kunoichi if it's a female
Oh, cool.
ninja.
I never knew that.
There you go.
Because also, as you can tell, Mark's a sub man. I'm a dub man.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Ninjas, there's different ranks in ninjas. You always start as a genin. You have to graduate like the basic level school to become a genin. Then they have a whole testing evaluation to become chunin, which is the mid-level. There's actually a whole arc in Naruto called the Chunin exams, and it's actually my favorite arc, and I'll touch on it just a little bit later on. Then you have the Jonin, which are mainly the adult ninjas. It's the professional workplace. It's like the senior workmen in your career, right? Then you have a special group called the Anbu Black Ops, which are for top secret missions. They all have special masks, so you don't know who they are. And then, of course, you have the leader of the villages, the Kages, but the prefix depends on what village you're from. So the Hidden Leaf Village leader is the Hokage, hence why Tony referenced my father calling it the Hokage show.
It's a Hokage show. Yeah.
He would just walk in and he heard Hokage, and it was a word he never heard before, so therefore it was always called Hokages. And then you have the Hidden Sand Village, their leader is the Kazekage. So, like I said,
Yep.
that's kind of the setup. The main character is Naruto Uzumaki. Who is he? Why is he special? Why is he the main character? Well, turns out there are these tailed beasts that used to roam the land. And by tailed beast, it goes from 1 to 9. And they literally have the first one has 1 tail. The second one has 2 tails, 3 tails, etc., all the way up to 9 tails. They're magical beasts. At the time, they were angry, roaming spirits. The ninjas at the time were able to capture them and used special jutsu, which is the kind of almost like spells, but it's their attacks, and they use chakra to perform these special abilities with their jutsu. Anyway, they used a sealing jutsu, and they sealed all of these tailed beasts into host ninjas, and they are called the Jinchuriki. Now, because the tailed beasts, when they roamed the earth, they caused so much damage and killed so many people, Jinchurikis are ostracized.
It's almost like a weapon. Like, they view them as, like, would you be okay if there was, like, a literal nuke next to you?
Yeah.
Like, that's how people view them.
Like inside you, yeah.
Yeah, because it is. I mean,
Yeah.
these were destroying villages when they were left unchecked.
Correct. So Naruto, when the nine-tailed beast attacked the Hidden Leaf Village, his parents died saving the village. So he grew up an orphan and a Jinchuriki.
which is doubling on a double down. It's crazy.
Correct. So he had no guidance, and so he pretty much was the town menace. And so, because no one liked him, so he's just like, if no one likes me, I'm just going to cause an issue for everybody in this town.
Yeah, but he's also not getting attention, so he's like acting out whenever he can.
Exactly.
He's also, people view him as a villain, and he's going, well, if you view me this way, then what am I doing? Why should I prove you wrong? Right.
And so the Hokage, the third Hokage at the time, was really the only one that oversaw him. And really, he
does a really bad job.
Yeah, he sets him up with his apartment, and he gives him like a monthly allowance. He doesn't really check up on him.
He doesn't look after him at all.
Right. Yeah. But he's the only one that interacts with him, really. But ever since he's a kid, Naruto, his lifelong goal is to be the Hokage. Because nobody would appreciate him or look at him, he's like, well, if I'm Hokage, everyone will love me.
They have to.
And they'll look up to me, and I will finally be respected, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's very psychological at a real young age. I mean,
yes, it is. And so that's what Naruto's about, is him becoming a ninja, coming to terms with that, and actually starting friendships with the other ninja. So he gets into school, and he continues to fail the Genin exam, which is the first level.
It's like your temps test for your driver's license.
Yeah, essentially. I won't go into details, but he learned the special jutsu, the multi-shadow clone jutsu, which becomes his signature move throughout the entire series.
Oh, we should also mention your abilities. Like, you can be a really good ninja, but kind of what's checking that power is their chakra. So if you have so much chakra, you can do so much with your jutsu. Since Naruto has the nine-tailed beast in him, he's able to do multiple shadow clone jutsu, but at a level that no one else can really touch him because he has so much chakra at a young age.
Mm-hmm.
So sorry, I just thought it.
No,
I thought that was kind of a unique point because
absolutely,
it's not just that they're walking weapons. They also do have some benefits, which is they have a lot more chakra than the average person.
Correct.
Only problem is that if they run out of chakra, it gets really dangerous because the seal starts kind of
loosening up, and the beast could get out.
So they're like, hey, don't exhaust yourself.
Yeah.
But also we need your help. So rock and roll.
Yeah, exactly. So he finally passes it. Like I said, I'm not going to go into detail how that happens, and he finally gets put on a squad, Team 7, and we follow this through Naruto's career. Kakashi Sensei is assigned the leader, and he's a Jonin level ninja. Much like there's different career paths for ninjas. Some are squad leaders, some are not. Some are Black Ops, So he chose that path. Now, they're known as the Rookie 9 because Naruto's year, there's 9 Genin that passed, and they're split up to 3 teams. We don't necessarily need to talk about the other 2, but Naruto's was Kakashi Sensei, Naruto, Sasuke Uchiha, and Sakura Haruno. It is a interesting dynamic. Naruto has a big crush on Sakura. Sakura has a big crush on Sasuke.
Classic love triangle, yeah.
So, fun fact about Sasuke, his entire family is also dead. So he's an orphan.
Mm-hmm. Wiped out by his brother.
Yeah. So Naruto and Sasuke they also just don't get along. Sasuke is very reserved and quiet. Naruto is rambunctious and loud. So they right off from the get-go are not friends.
But it's so funny because they're both orphans.
Yeah.
They both want power and respect, but for different reasons. Naruto wants it because he wants to prove to the village that he's more than what they see him. Sasuke wants it because he wants to avenge his family by attacking his brother. And also, since the rest of his clan died, he's the only last clan member. So he has to withhold that clan name. So once again, it's like, in a weird way, they're cut from the same cloth, but that almost is an adverse effect.
Correct.
They really don't like each other.
Yes.
And it also doesn't help that Sakura just loves Sasuke, and
yes,
Naruto's so infatuated with her, Sasuke could care less, and it just at a fundamental, hormone, you know what I mean, like little kid level, when you have crushes, that could really hurt you,
Yeah. And so that's kind of the setup there. And like I said, so the first episode is just called Naruto. A lot happens here. Naruto finds a team, he grows, he discovers his power that he never thought he had, discovers a family he never thought he could have, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of things happen. So like
family as in like the friends that he made along the way, not actual family.
Not actual family. Yes.
He is an orphan.
So I won't go into detail here. There's a bunch of different arcs, and I'm not going to tell you the plot because I want you to go watch it. This is just an intro. We could very possibly do a deep dive on Naruto sometime in the future, but for the purposes of this podcast, I'm just going to hit one arc, which is the tuning exam, because it's my favorite.
I'm very glad you're hitting this arc. Yep.
And I think because that may have actually been the arc that I introduced you on, because
I 1000%
one of my favorite battles ever in all of Naruto is in this arc.
All.
I think so.
Okay. I respect it. No, I think
it's not great. I'm not confident enough to say it's my favorite, but it's definitely one of my favorites.
Gotcha.
So the tuning exams, Naruto and his team have been doing missions. They've done enough missions that their team leader Kakashi has recommended them to become tunings.
It's the next rank up.
There's 3 parts of the tuning exam. The first one, you work with your team, and you have to find the scrolls in this, essentially a forbidden forest, right?
Yeah, trapped, booby-trapped, Thunderdome.
So I believe there's like 3 scrolls, and you have to come out with all 3.
These would be like the 3 different ones.
Correct.
So you can't have a double of wind or something. I can't remember what the actual thing is, but yeah.
Correct. And so the teams are all pit against each other. So there's the 3 leaf teams, the 2 teams that I didn't go into detail about, Naruto's team, a Hidden Sand team, and then randomly this new village popped up, the Hidden Sound. And that is important for the show. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to talk about it much here, but it's kind of a big deal in the show because it's a new village, and new villages don't pop up on a whim.
Yeah, it's also from a country that's like... Yeah, what's
a little
going on?
Suspicious.
Yeah. When I say country, land.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. So that goes on, and actually there's probably a few other teams because they get eliminated. There's only a few set teams that make it to the second round because they're fighting. They steal scrolls. If you don't have any scrolls, you're going to get eliminated. The second round is second and third is pretty much a bracket 1v1 fight, and it starts out with a bang of a fight.
Nice.
Rock Lee, who is on one of the Leaf Village teams, and Gaara, who is from the Hidden Sand Village and son of the Kazekage, also the Jinchuriki of the One-Tailed Beast.
Yeah, so now what Naruto is to the Leaf Village, that's what Gaara is for the Sand Village. Mm-hmm. And it's also really important that the main villages actually keep these Jinchurikis around as, like, weapons.
Yes.
Your power and might is relative off of your... Jinchuriki. You are considered less if you don't have a Jinchuriki.
Yeah, and so the main, like I said earlier, there was 9 lands and the main 9 villages. They split the Jinchuriki among those main 9.
Yep.
So they all had them, and it was kind of an appeasement, so everyone was almost on the same playing field. Right?
Yeah, even though in theory the 1-tail versus the 9-tail, there's the power dynamics there, but still, it's
right. So that's an awesome fight, the Rock Lee Gaara fight. It kind of sets the stage for the rest of the series. You see a fight earlier on. I'm not going to say it's the first real fight because you see the Zabuza fight and stuff like that, but it's the real, like, this could be a good show kind of thing.
Naruto's cooking.
Yeah.
They're cooking with fire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, and it has one of the coldest scenes in all of anime.
Yeah.
And I don't want to spoil it, but it's... Anyone who has anybody even close to Naruto would know exactly what we're talking about.
Yes.
If you know what we're talking about, maybe leave a cryptic comment. Say, hey,
Yeah.
Are you talking about? But don't give it up. But see if you got the cryptic comment on it.
So, and the tuning exam is great too because we start to see my favorite character, Shikamaru, come out of his shell and start to use his tactical genius. So Shikamaru's specialty, it's a family jutsu. It's a shadow jutsu where he can literally control, like, freeze your shadow and freeze you or control it. I always thought it was the coolest thing.
Oh, yeah. And he can extend it out and fight you with his shadow.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And so Shikamaru, it's shown, like, as he's a kid, he's the laziest kid. He doesn't really want to do anything.
What a drag.
That's his go-to line. But it quickly shows in battle, he is one of the best strategists, even as a kid. And it's incredible to watch. So his first fight, kind of lackluster, but in round 3, when he faces Tamari of the Sand Village, it's also a fantastic fight because Tamari is one of the best fighters of the Sand Village, and that's why she was sent there. And Shikamaru almost losing and then trying to figure out a battle plan to attack her because she had a fan and she blocked the sun, so she didn't have a shadow. So he had to figure out a way around it, right? Mm-hmm. It's
so good.
It's so good.
I think another thing too is that I love the scenes because they like slow it down and have him think internally. So you get his internal dialogue. And it's like the classic, I think Bill Gates said this, I don't want to misquote anybody, but the whole quote was like, if I want to figure out how to do something efficiently, I give it to the laziest person I know. Because it's like they're going to find the path to least resistance every time.
Right.
Versus just someone who's just going to put their head down, dedicate it out, and really bang it out.
Right.
If you want to find the shortest path, give it to the lazy person. So,
Yep.
and that's Shikamaru to a T.
Yeah.
But then he knows how to turn it on. You know what I mean? Like when it's rubber meets the road, you can see him really turn his gears.
Yeah. And so then the tuning exam ends with the Hidden Leaf Village getting attacked, and the Hokage has to fight, and then it moves on to the next arc. But that's in Naruto, it is definitely my favorite arc.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up too. Yeah, no, I think that's a solid one.
Yeah, and so
I think that is the best arc, by the way. That's the best arc of number 1. It's got to be.
Yeah, and so that's Naruto. Like I said, we didn't really want to spoil anything, but I wanted to hit my favorite arc. Tony, you're going to talk, I think, a little bit about Shippuden, the next series, right?
Yeah, and a little bit more of a difficult task because we said, Naruto was right around like I think it's 220. I think that's what we ended up on, 220 episodes.
Yep.
Shippuden's over 500 episodes.
Yeah.
So we're plus a double. You know what I mean? It's pretty amazing. And the only other problem is that, or like what we said, we want this to be an introduction episode. So it's very difficult because Shippuden really starts building on what's happening in Naruto. And there's a lot going on. But I can still give you the rough draft of it because another thing too is that, I'll be honest, I know for a fact I've seen all the episodes of Shippuden. I don't know if I've seen all the episodes of Naruto. So in a weird way, I would love for everyone to watch Naruto, but if you really kind of want to just get the meat and potatoes of everything, and you can watch Shippuden pretty easily, and there's enough go-backs to the original Naruto that you'll formulate it out with 500 episodes, and if you watch all the fillers, because a lot of the filler episodes are actually flashbacks to Naruto.
Yeah.
Because they're using the same footage in someone's different memory. So you kind of really get all the big points in. So if you just want to watch Shippuden in general, that was my only tidbit of information.
It's cool because it's usually from a different perspective, so you get an extra scene in there too.
Exactly.
You know
Yeah. Because normally it's through the perspective of Naruto or something, and then, Choji's in the background, and all of a sudden you get Choji's perspective on this, and it's like, whoa, what the heck, you know? But just kind of go through the explanation of what's kind of happening in Shippuden. So a lot's going on with both Team 7, so we kind of have Sasuke, Sakura, and Naruto, kind of all going about doing their own thing, but let's kind of go above them and talk about what's going on with the world. Mm-hmm. So right now, there's this group called the Akatsuki. The Akatsuki are virtually going out and they're attacking all of the major villages. And if you notice, they start attacking the major 9 villages, and you might wonder, well, why are they attacking these 9 villages? Mm-hmm. Well, they're on this really big tailed beast search. So what they're doing is they're gathering all this chakra and power that they're getting from the tailed beast and storing it into the statue. They call it the Ghetto statue. What they're going to use that statue for, who knows? That is for you guys to figure out in like 300 episodes. Mm-hmm. But they are storing all this power inside the statue. And so there's a lot of battles that happen from it. And I think this is where you're starting to, Mark said it's like this coming of age story, but now it's like all these people we grew up with watching Naruto, they're now the real deal. They're the Jonin. Okay, yeah, well, because I was about to say Naruto's not, but.
Right, so there's a time skip, and Naruto goes off. It's like Tony said, Sakura, Sasuke, and Naruto go off in their own ways. They all have their own teachers. Yep. Naruto leaves the village with his mentor, and they travel the world to train. But all the people back in the village that are Naruto's age became Chunin.
Exactly.
Some of them became Jonin. Like I said, there's a big bad in Naruto that attacked the Chunin exam, so the exam never was finished. And Naruto left, so he was never promoted. So Naruto comes back with all of them, at least Chunin, some of them Jonin, and he's,
a Genin.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, I kind of hesitated where I'm like, oh, they're all Shinobi? Yeah. So they're all different level, and I don't want to single out Naruto specifically, but yeah, exactly that. So, but it's kind of their way of going about and showing that they're passing the baton off, right? They need to start solving these solutions. So in a lot of these Akatsuki battles, you're starting seeing some of these really amazing characters that you've seen kind of get used to and grow up into their unique abilities, and then showing off these unique abilities in these just amazing fight sequences. So super cool. You're also learning more about the big bad and a lot of their backstories and what's kind of propelling them forward. Why are they gathering these power statues? What are they doing? So you really kind of get that overall. So let's kind of go back now into Naruto. Actually, really quick, before I do that, one thing I really think we should do is we should do a deep dive on all the tailed beasts. Seriously, listeners, they are all so cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
cool in their own way, too.
It's
really...
the names, the personalities, their abilities. It's really unique to see all these tail beasts come together. So, sorry, that was just a quick aside. I think that'd be really cool, and I think that'd be really exciting. A step down, and let's look at some of the main characters now. So we're getting more of Naruto's training, right? Yep. So he is a Jinchuriki. They start realizing that these Akatsuki group are going after Jinchurikis, so they're like, okay, in a weird way, we have to protect you, but we don't want to silo you off because you're, like, potentially one of the most powerful people in the village. Mm-hmm. But we also need to train you up because if they do come, you got to be ready for a scrap.
Yep.
So there is this training that's going on still from now different mentors. And so there's this big training. And I think the only thing I really want to name out, because this is a pretty big arc, but they start talking about chakra natures, right? So the different 5 natures and who masters them, what's the differences, what's the weakness and strong points. So it's kind of cool to see it's not raw power versus raw power. There's some logic to it, right? Kind of like the classic, like fire and water. Water's going to beat fire. You kind of have to work with these chakra natures. Not saying it's impossible to not overcome, but you got to start talking about it. So learning more about that was really kind of interesting. And the last one is that there's this Sage Jutsu. So the reason why I'm bringing up Sage Jutsu, and this is my favorite arc personally, I absolutely love frogs. It's one of my things. I think they're the most amazing creatures this side of the Mississippi. Both sides of the Mississippi. Why just keep it this side?
Yeah.
But really, I absolutely love frogs. And the Sage Jutsu stuff, I'm not spoiling anything, but he goes to a special place called Mount Nyoboku. Mount Nyoboku is specifically this frog place. And the summons of his mentor and Naruto are frogs, and that's their homeland. So they go to their homeland, and he's learning this really special jutsu. And I don't know, personally for me, it's so funny. Like if someone's like, "Oh, what's your favorite arc in Naruto Shippuden?" I bet you 2 people out of 100 would even mention Mount Nyoboku.
Yeah.
Because it's just this one-off thing. But as a kid, I remember watching it and being like, "Oh my gosh, this is the coolest!" Like, I mean, there's frogs. I mean, This is so sweet, and they harness like one of the best abilities in all of Naruto. Like, this is crazy. Well, they don't personally harness it, but they tell them how to harness it, and that was kind of like my favorite arc. But now, kind of moving across the other team, we have now this really big arc. Now we have to go talk about Sasuke. So, sorry, I'm not hating on Sakura. Sakura has a really cool arc. She's kind of doing a lot of her healing because now she's more of a healer. Mm-hmm. She has a lot going for her, and
her
that's
strength,
really
right?
Yeah, and her strength. There's so much going for her. I'm not trying to hate on her or anything, but really, this point for global events, Naruto and Sasuke are the big ones. So,
and I will say, it's night and day. Sakura in the original Naruto and Sakura in Shippuden are like 2 different characters.
Oh, 1,000%. That's why I'm like, I don't want to hate on her too bad. I know there's a lot of Sakura hate out there, so I don't want to hate on her too bad. But so Sakura has amazing stuff in her own right, but that's not really what I want to focus on. What I really want to focus now is Sasuke, because there's a lot more going on. There's more you get more information about what's going on with him and his brother, Itachi. His brother's now part of the Akatsuki. What's going on? Why is this? Why he did all this to his village? What exactly is happening here?
And to his family.
And to his family. Yeah, especially. Right? Like, could you, do that with your family? Then all of a sudden join the people who vehemently oppose the village? Like, It's crazy. So you get more information on that. Once again, we're not spoiling anything. This is just very top level. So you get more information on that. That's probably my second favorite. That's really my favorite arc, but the Mount Nyoboku with frogs is just so solid.
Well, it's cool to see Itachi's perspective, and because it goes into what made him make that decision to kill all the Uchihas, right?
Mm-hmm. Man, it's so hard not talking about it.
Yeah,
we could literally be here for 3 hours talking about this. So it is a really unique story, and I really think, if anything, I would just YouTube like Sasuke versus Itachi and look at that fight scene and also look at all that backstory. It's pretty good. Even though you're kind of out of context. Even out of context, it's pretty amazing. But then you also kind of have this, Sasuke now has some knowledge and he acts on that knowledge. Now, how he acts on that is pretty unique, and I don't want to tell you how he acts on it because that kind of spoils a lot. But the whole point is that he gathers information from that fight and it changes him. And he's now going out in the world and acting very, very different, which is diametrically opposed to Naruto. And so now there's once again, just like at the end of Naruto, like there's a big spat, right? What's going on between Sasuke and Naruto? They really don't like each other, but now they're going fist to cuff against each other. So what's exactly going on here? So, and all of that will eventually bleed into the end game. I feel so bad. I want to talk about it more, but honestly, we should stop there just because I don't want to cause anything.
We can get into spoilers real quick, real fast.
Correct. That's why I said endgame. We're there. Okay. So, but with that being said, though, I think Mark, if you're ready for it. Or do you want me to go back before I go?
No, I think we're ready for the little game that we got for this episode.
So I think the game, which we're going to do, so we were just talking about that, we have the Akatsuki members. So we kind of have this explanation building up to it, but the whole point is that the members are so sweet and the battles they do are so sweet. I think Mark and I, what we're going to do is we're going to take each of those members, we're going to list them off, and then we're going to say, probably rank them and who we like more.
Yep.
Whether that's, by the way, this could be our own ranking. It could be power levels, meaning I think they're the most powerful, or I like them because X, Y, and Z. For example, like like I keep bringing it back to it, but Mount Iaboku it's not that exciting, but for me, that's like my favorite part.
Right,
so,
right.
Shooting exam, that is a very exciting part. I think a lot of people will say that's their favorite, but that's what I'm saying. Ranking, it's all relative, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So beauty's in the eye of the beholder. So yeah, Mark, I think if we can go forward, let's just start ranking the Akatsuki.
Let's do it.
Let's just list the visuals right now, just for everybody here. By the way, I absolutely love it. There's a scene in one of the episodes where Pain Nagato is explaining it, and he's just such deep voice and rich. It's awesome. But it's Konan, Itachi, Kisame, Sasori, Deidara, Kakazu, Hidan, Orochimaru, Zetsu, Obito, and like I said first, Pain or Nagato. Mark, you take that list, you look at them. What's your first thoughts? Like, what is the way in which you want to rank these? Are you going based on power? Are you going based on just characters you really like? What's kind of your thought process going into this?
So, planning for this episode, I went back and forth because there's clear power differences.
Oh, huge.
How I ended up ranking them, though, is who I thought was the coolest kind of character or whatever, because Itachi Uchiha is so OP.
Oh, man.
I mean, just he wipes the floor. You got Pain, who's also super powerful, but he gets beat by Naruto, so he can't.
Yeah, he arguably doesn't get beat. He just gets talked out of.
He
gets talked out of. Yeah, they're sisters. They're sister students,
Yeah.
sibling students. But I think another thing too is that even when you said that, it's so hard at the Live Left Floor podcast to not just go into all the lore of each one of these guys. So maybe let's do a quick. We don't have to do a quick recap on all of them. But maybe while we list them, we'll just kind of go back and forth on
just a little snippet,
snippets, because I think if we go full hog, it's going to be bad.
So,
this episode's going to be 4 hours long.
Yeah, exactly.
Which we could.
Yeah. So who I've got first is, you ready for this?
It's Itachi.
No.
Really?
I love Itachi, and he deserves to be at the top of every list. But I didn't want to be.
You want to be a fanboy?
I didn't want to be stereotypical.
I like it.
But I do love Itachi, and he is probably my favorite overall. But for the purposes of this,
Who'd you put?
I've always kind of liked Kakazu.
Really?
The fact that he's got so many hearts, and the fact that he can just
he channels our 5 natures too.
Yeah, and he just kind of they almost look like stitches. I mean, he extends his arms, right?
So that's the whole point. Yeah, he can stitch out. So Kakazu as a character, he has this ability of he's just lived an unnaturally long life, and people really can't figure out why he's able to do
multiple
it.
lives.
Multiple lives. And the whole point is that when he takes the heart of his victims, he assumes also that ability to take that nature of chakra. So normally people are innately on 1, and then they can learn another one. So 2 is pretty normal. 3 is like, whoa, that's pretty crazy. They're pretty powerful. If you can master 4, that's kind of unreal. And if you master all 5, you're
God.
You're
a god. Yeah.
So people think he's a god because he's able to do all 5 natures at a single point, and also he can detach these hearts, which become masks, and they're like almost these like extension of his own being, but really having 5 people there, and it's really hard because the only way to kill him is you have to kill all 5, or you have to kill all the hearts that are associated with him, which is pretty darn difficult because all of them are attacking you with all 5 nature chakras, which is extremely difficult to counter, and it just gets in this huge mess. So I really like that first answer.
Yeah.
Sorry, I took your explanation away from you.
No, it's perfect. I talked a lot in the beginning, so I'm glad you're explaining it.
Yeah, no. So the funny thing is I went Kisame first. So Kisame...
He's my number two.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, you really put Itachi down. So Kisame was my number 1. Kisame has forever and will always be one of my favorite characters in Naruto. I think it was when they did the whole 7 Swordsmen of the Mist, and they were talking all about that stuff. Just seeing this, so he's from the Water Village. No, the
Hidden Mist.
Hidden Mist, yeah. I was
Swordsman, 7 Swordsmen of the Hidden Mist,
I
Tony.
literally said that, and I was like, Water Village. I was like, oh, no. But yeah, so Hidden Mist. But there's like water droplets, you know what I mean, on their thing. So no one else from the Hidden Mist looks like this. But for whatever reason, he literally looks like a shark.
Yep.
And he also wields his blade, which I'm a huge, like, anything with sword lore is so sick. I think that's why.
Guy. I love Zabuza.
Zabuza was so sick.
No, he was only in for like 3 episodes.
I know, but the Executioner blade, so sick. So I loved it. I love seeing the blade. So he has a blade called Samehada, and virtually it's like this wrapped blade, which I didn't love the fact that it was wrapped. But the whole point is like it's like this shark tooth blade. It's so sick. It kind of drains his chakra, but then it revives him. There's this huge feedback loop, and also just as a person. Even though he's not a Jinchuriki, we talked about them a little bit previously, Jinchurikis have the tailed beast in them. So Jinchurikis naturally have a lot of chakra. Because they're pulling off not only their chakra, but as well as the tailed beast chakra. So they're really powerful because they have access to more chakra. Kisame, they said he had the ability to have as much, like he has the amount of chakra as a Jinchuriki without being a Jinchuriki. So just naturally, he's just a beast with just strength and that sword. And plus... listeners, he's blue, and I freaking love that. His blue hair with his blue skin, I was like, oh, he's so sweet. I love him. So he was actually my first.
So Kisame was my number 2. So who's your number 2?
My number 2 is Itachi, and he was basically showed huge prominence at the age of like 9, and he got all the way to the On Blue Black Ops, which is like a huge
as like a kid.
Feat. Yeah,
never been done before.
Never been done, and he had just this visual acuity. It's called
Sharingan.
Thank you, Mark. So Sharingan, I was thinking about that whole time. I was like, it's not Rinnegan, it's not Byakugan. I had all the other eyes, but not that one. But they have the Sharingan, which is like basically this super overpowered. They can see a lot more than the average shinobi. They can kind of almost slow down time. They can see stuff in different directions. It's just a visual acuity that makes them just unnatural predators. And so Itachi has that, and then he gets more abilities. And we can go so long Itachi, but let's just go to the next one. So who's your third?
Itachi was my 3rd. So who's your 4th?
I haven't gone to my 3rd.
Sorry, I meant your 3rd.
Yep. So my 3rd is actually Obito.
Okay, all right.
So Toby, there's a little bit of a spoiler there. Sorry, I mean, I'm assuming someone's either listening to this going, "What the heck's Naruto?" or they've watched this and they're gripping their seats, going, "Oh my gosh!"
It's also so far into the series that if they just start, they're going to forget about it by the time they get there.
Not even a big deal. Who even is Toby? But so Obito, the only reason why, this is going to be a really dumb reason, but he's a very strong guy, and I think he's a very complex character, and there's a lot to his backstory that I really like. But honestly, my favorite part about him, at the end of the day, was he did my favorite jutsu of all time, the hanging lizard jutsu. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it is a good. It's not the 1,000 years of pain.
No. It's literally like it's the stupidest thing ever. But he's able to hang upside down on a tree, and he's like doing like. So basically, all these different ninjas are coming in. Our shinobi are coming in, and they're attacking him. He's doing all these crazy dodges. He's not yet to go offensive. And he screams out like the hanging lizard jutsu, and the only thing he's doing is he's just hanging upside down by a tree without his hands, like his feet are there, and he makes it like into a really big theatrical. It's like a comic relief, but I don't know why. I just love that about him. He's just such a comic relief character that it just that scene alone solidified it. So it's not even like a power thing. I just think he's a complex character, and he had a really funny scene. So who's your 4th?
Sasori, for sure. So I really like his ability, but he's essentially
puppet master.
Yeah, but he's Kankuro on steroids.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why, I mean, it's a little bit of a repeat, but he's better than Kankuro, though. So, yes. So Kankuro's another character.
They're both from the Hidden Sand.
Both from the Hidden Sand. He's the brother of Gaara, who in Shippuden is the Kazekage, leader of the Sand Village.
The Hokage for the Sand Village.
Correct. But in Naruto, just Gaara was someone that Naruto fought in the Chunin
So
exams.
sick, yeah.
Good,
so sick
good, yeah. So Kankuro just has one puppet, but Sasori has like 1,000 puppets.
Yeah,
you know?
at one point
he's called the Red
brings
Sand.
out-
You know, it's so he's
the Red Salamander, right?
Red Salamander because he looks like a salamander, and then he just like comes up and all these puppets, right?
Yeah.
So that battle was kind of cool to watch. I mean, was he the first? I think he was the first Akatsuki to get taken down because I think it was in that first
I was
arc.
so mad.
But,
he was,
but I mean, he's still pretty cool. I think.
Perfect. And then for my 4th, I actually have Nagato. So Pain Nagato. There's a lot going on here, but the whole point is we talk about visual acuities, but he possesses the Rinnegan. The Rinnegan is like the Sharingan on steroids. there's a lot of stuff that you can do with the Rinnegan. It really opens up these avenues. And they say the father of Shinobi had the Rinnegan. Sage of the Six Paths. So that's why it's like...
Two sons one had Sharingan, one had the Byakugan, right?
Yep, and then that's how it kind of played out. So that's where the visual acuity actually happens. Rinnegan was kind of the father.
Yep.
And then Byakugan.
You know me, I like genealogy, right? So I know
that's
how all the ninjas connect.
Yeah. Crazy line, but they all connect. Yeah, he's got a lot of cool abilities, and I just really like the fact that he was taught by Jiraiya. I really like the fact that it's a Jiraiya student. He really cares for his people.
I forgot about that, but you're right. Yeah.
He really cares about his people, and I just really appreciate him. It's kind of funny I say he cares about his people, even though he's like a super bad guy, but he's got a really cool backstory.
Yes, I agree. And that he was next for me as well.
Oh, he was? Okay. I've got Zetsu for my 5th.
I think he's so dang creepy, Zetsu.
Oh, he's super creepy.
But Recon.
He's just has so much utility.
Oh my goodness, he really does.
So Mark said Recon, but you want to go more in detail of why he's Recon?
Well, he can split into 2, right?
He can split into 2. And
he's white Zetsu and black Zetsu.
Yep. And he has the ability to basically manipulate his chakra and his body in such a way where he can go into physical objects and go out like almost like it's nothing. So they're like, hey, let me spy on this battle and stuff. He can literally just be in a tree and come out of the trunk and just like watch everything going on and then like materialize back in the trunk and then go back in and report anywhere. So basically he's like ultimate teleportation and it's really hard to hit him.
Yeah. And for the listeners, so just imagine he's kind of looks like a Venus flytrap when he's together.
Oh, 1,000%.
Just a Venus flytrap, half black, half white.
Mm-hmm. Well, his head's half black, half white.
Yeah.
And his head is basically inside of a Venus flytrap.
Yes.
So it's almost like where his traps are.
Yeah.
Is 2 big clamshells that like separate his head, and it's not.
And then the Akatsuki rope.
But yeah.
But
it's a Venus flytrap. Basically.
Creepy as heck.
Yeah. If you ever want a little bit of a nightmare, just go look him up, Zetsu. And then another really big thing too is that since there's a white and black Zetsu, or basically it's white and black counterparts. They both have different voice actors too, so it's even more wild because like the black Zetsu versus the white, and they'll argue with each other. It makes the whole thing really creepy.
Yeah,
but he's super powerful. That's why I really like him. So he was my 5th. So Mark, who's your 6th?
So I struggled with this one. I did Conan.
Okay, well she's really solid. She was my next after
the
Orochimaru,
paper, right?
No. Yeah, so she basically her powers are. She has this awesome ability to kind of separate herself into paper, and all those papers are effectively paper bombs, which is just explosives. So she's like a walking time bomb that could never explode herself. But the only problem is like she has this paper, and the paper has this basically covering on it that's like hydrophobic. So it's not like if rains happen, she just like dissipates. But when it does rain, she is great. Like her powers are reduced. So you kind of have to take her with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
When I say grain of salt, meaning like she has of all these people who had like abilities and in which could be countered, hers is probably like the easiest to counter out of the list. I still put her pretty high up, but I have actually Orochimaru as my 6th. Yeah, I have Orochimaru as my 6th instead of Conan.
Oh yeah, so then I have Orochimaru after.
Oh
her.
really? We switched them. Okay, so we're close.
But Conan's cool because Pain's the leader, Nagato.
Mm-hmm. Allegedly.
At least you think so at the beginning. Mm-hmm. But she is number 2 to him. I mean, closest advisor, best friend.
But Orochimaru, the reason why I picked him, I just love Sage Jutsu. He kind of does it in an unconventional way.
Curse mark, man.
But the curse mark sucks.
Huge.
Yeah, it sucks to have. But
But
super cool.
I mean, it's devastating on the body, but it gives him a lot of power.
Yeah, and then that's like the whole point where he just kind of builds up his power. So, and he's kind of there as a utility player. He's like, I'll help you guys out, but I'm not really an Akatsuki member because I'm just trying to do my own thing. But I will, like, our interests aligned for a certain period. Therefore, I'll be with you. That's kind of how it is.
So Orochimaru, and he's my next too, and that's why I'll talk a little bit about it. He was expelled from the Leaf Village because he was obsessed with eternal life, kind of like Pelagius, and so he dabbled in the cloning thing, right?
Very big, very huge.
And so he just goes from host body to host body, and so like he appears super young.
Yeah, right? He always looks younger, and he's like we said, the natures of chakra. He's trying to understand not only the natures of chakra, but like nature itself, what causes cells to generate. So he's doing a bunch of these unconventional,
unholy,
very taboo stuff.
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird because they kind of utilize him here and there because when his research does kind of pull out, there's like this Anbu aspect where they're like, hey, what's going on? You know, so it's kind of there's a shady underbelly to this whole Leaf Village. But yeah. And Orochimaru's very much a part of that. So we have Orochimaru and Kana. We switched those two.
Yep.
So
2 left, right?
I got 4 left. So now I'm at Kakazu. We already talked about Kakazu.
Oh, yeah.
We already talked about Sasori.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my next 2. I had Kakazu, Sasori, and then here's my last 2.
Okay.
I have Hidan.
I have Hidan too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Only reason why I have Hidan right there. So Hidan.
It's annoying.
He's super annoying.
The next one's annoying too.
Yeah. These last 2 are just kind of annoying to watch. They have pretty cool abilities. Hidan has like this really It's kind of funny. They don't really talk about religion all that much. They have chakra. They have this understanding of one with nature, one with the body, one with energy. But Hidan in particular,
but its religion never talks.
You're right. It's the difference of spirituality and religion.
Yeah.
And he is specifically going off the god of Jashin. And the whole point is that he is kind of this disciple. So whenever he's on screen, he's always like doing these very big zealots, like rants on how they're non-believers. It is up to him to eliminate them. And once he eliminates them, he then does this ritual as a blessing up to Jashin. And with that ability, though, so he is like a 6 scythe. He is one of the coolest weapons, arguably. But the whole point of him is that the second he gets your blood, he can then transform himself to then take over your body. He kills himself, which is really killing you. Jashin grants him eternal life, which they don't really talk about, but they give him eternal life.
Correct, yeah.
So whenever he kills himself, he doesn't really kill himself. He kills the other person, and then he just like resurrects. He's fine. He's good. Kakazu, who you said he has the stitching and the strings, literally stitches Hidan up multiple times.
Yeah,
and he's like, oh, you did this again? What the heck? And then he stitches him up.
Yeah.
So they have a really cool player. And I should have mentioned, too, each of these Akatsuki's are pairs. So, it's Kisame and Itachi.
Yep, I've got
You have Nagato with Conan. You have Zetsu, really kind of with Orochimaru.
Correct.
That's kind of his pairing.
But, I mean, he's kind of a lone wolf.
Very much so. And then Zetsu's kind of he's supposed to be, doing the patrol and everything. And then you have Deidara and Sasori, and then Hidan and Kakazu.
Yeah.
So there is some funny exchange between Hidan and Kakazu I kind of like, but still, Hidan as a whole, he was just super annoying for me.
Yeah.
So that's basically him as a character. And there's a really cool Shikamaru arc with him. I really love
my boy Shikamaru. He's my favorite.
The other one, the last one I have was Deidara. You have the Deidara. Do you want to explain Deidara?
I mean, he's just
yucky.
Emo to the max. I mean, he's got, he's got hair over one eye. He's got the ponytail. He's got a
metal eye, which is like his zoom in eye. Basically, it's like for him to observe art better. It's like that's his whole shtick. His whole shtick is that he's an artist. He's an artist.
An artist. So his hand, he's got one hand that has a mouth on it.
Both hands have
mouths. Both.
Yeah.
And essentially he puts these clay or whatever in there, and they turn to giant explosives.
Yeah, detonating clay. He infuses chakra into the clay and makes it detonating.
But he always puts it into some sort of sculpture, and that's why he's an old artist, right? Yeah. It's some bird or some anything like that.
Yeah, because his point is like he's like everyone in art is they're all posers, right? You spend all this time, and then you make this piece, and the piece stays on forever. But only time will deteriorate it, and it'll slowly get worse. Like, that's not what art is. Art's an expression. Art's passion. It needs to be this explosive moment. So what's the most thing to explosive moment? Is explosives.
A bomb, yeah.
So everything he does is always explosive. So his whole grand masterpiece is him, like, basically detonating himself. He kills himself. He's like, this is my masterpiece. This is how I should live out. This is every artist's dream, to be just an unbelievable fiery explosion.
Exploded. Yeah.
So he's just crazy.
He's emo and he's just pessimistic. He's just annoying. His power's really not that cool compared to the other ones, really.
No.
So,
he can make ones. He makes detonating clays that fly. So he's got flying, which is kind of rad. But even then, it's like, But I think another big one for me, too, is the fact that we talk about the sound guys often here. You remember how we're like talking when Draco kicks Harry's nose when we're like the sound guy, like, he had like a noodle or unbaked pasta and he like bit it. Yeah. And it's just like, it's like the sound guy's dream kind of deal. This one, it was just a nightmare because whenever it shows him, because basically he's like these pouches where these clay is on his sides. Whenever it would show him, it's like just this mouth making just a really yucky, like, chewing noise. And so whenever Datara was on the screen, it was always that in the background with some volume. And after a while, it's like, ugh, I don't know.
I'm done with it. I'm done with this guy. Yeah.
I don't want to hear someone, because literally it's someone like chewing gum.
Yeah.
Like some sound guy just chewing gum.
Into the microphone.
And that's what it was. Every single time he was on screen, and it was like, okay, I'm done. But really, Hedon and Datara are like the most annoying ones.
Well, because Hedon's always heckling you, and he just... So I learned the hard way. I know you're a dub man, Tony.
I'm a huge dub man, yeah.
I'm a sub man, I switched after the Hedon arc because Hedon's American voice was so dang annoying that I had to go subtitles.
Really?
Yeah.
That's your start?
Yeah.
I just powered through. I don't know. I'm not going to... If
So
I'm going to read, I'm
Paul
going to read
thinks Naruto's voice is so annoying. That's why he started subtitles.
Really?
But I'm okay with the American
I like her.
Yeah. I mean, it's a girl. Yeah, I think she does fine.
I think she's great.
But...
I love everyone else's voice. Everyone else's voice is great. I think there wasn't a single person that I would, other than Hedon, that I would change. Yeah, Hedon was the one I was like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah.
He's pretty annoying. But yeah, so Mark, I think we had a pretty close list to each other.
I think so. Yeah, I think it was good.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. But any go backs on those lists?
I think we're good. So thanks for listening, guys. Please, as always, please reach out with questions, mix-ups, and what-if ideas. We'd love to hear them.
If you want to reach out to us, please reach out to Instagram or X, Twitter at Live Laugh Lore Pod, or email us at livelaughLorePod@gmail.com. That's livelaughLorePod, POD, @gmail.com.
Thanks, guys.